Should find it.
All right, we are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the March 26, 2024 meeting of the Buncombe County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. It's a beautiful rainy afternoon in the Hominy Valley, and we're happy to be here at the Pinnacle Library. Thanks to everyone who's here. As we always do, I'd like to start with Mr. Mike Stanley over here. If you tell us, please, who you are and what, if you work for Parks and Rec, if you would tell us your main responsibilities, and if you're a member of the advisory council, remind us who you are and who you represent. We'll start with Matt.
Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Max Stanley, local program coordinator for Buncombe County Parks and Recreation, kind of come up with programs and implement those programs. And then also I am one of two local coordinators for Special Olympics Buncombe County.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Thomas Goll. I'm the principal park planner with Buncombe County Parks and Rec. So I'm project managing the system-wide master plan right now, as well as our Greenway projects, among other things.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Matt Dixon, Park Ranger Supervisor, just kind of overseeing day-to-day park staff operations.
Thank you.
Joseph Guzman, project manager, oversee maintenance and projects, capital projects, smaller projects, any improvements that we're doing.
Thank you very much. Ingrid.
All right, Ingrid Johnson, a new member of the board and from the Emma neighborhood with voter Emma, and thanks again for everyone. Sorry, I'm a little late. For your patience.
We're just happy you're here.
I'm Ann Babcock and I represent District 3.
I'm Kevin Conrad and I represent District 1.
And I'm Lynn Pegg. I'm currently the program manager for Buncombe County Parks and Recreation.
I am Allison Daines and I'm the director of Buncombe County Parks and Recreation.
I am Adam Zinke, and I'm the office coordinator for Buncombe County Parks.
And I'm the marketing
So, happy you're here. Thank you so much. For the duration of this meeting, I would like for us to just suspend our bylaws. And since we do not have a quorum today, due to some illness and bad weather here, I'm going to ask that we suspend our rules and allow the representatives who are here to vote on any decision that needs to be made. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. So we'll do that. Approval of the January minutes. Can I have a motion that we approve those minutes? Thank you. And second. Yep. Thank you, Ingrid. All in favor? Aye. Okay, right to our director and her outstanding report.
Excellent, thank you. Appreciate everyone being here. We are excited. We are in the middle of budget season. Actually, as we speak right now, there is an open budget meeting that is occurring. And so we look forward to some potential capital projects. We're hoping to be able to get some additional funds for some more programming, as well as a potential staff person. And so that will go to vote in June, the Board of Commission for implementation July 1. So we're feeling pretty good and hopeful about that and have moving forward with some larger projects, hopefully in the coming fiscal year. Also wanted to let you know that the community recreation grant cycle is currently open. It ends this Friday. As you remember, hopefully, we have community recreation grants in the award of $100,000 total for eligible nonprofit organizations to help fulfill our missions through recreation programming and outreach and being able to supply those opportunities for Buncombe County residents. With that, I'm going to just briefly turn it over to Adam, who is overseeing that program and has an ask.
I do. As Allison just said, the grants will be ending at the end of this week. So next month we will be doing our evaluations. And I was hoping to have two representatives from the board take part.
Happy to.
Wonderful. Is there someone else who'd be willing to
I know we're applying for one of those, so I was thinking I probably wouldn't be a good fit for that.
I was ready to jump on you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not me.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, very good. All right. Thank you very much. So, so far we have our opening meeting will be on April 10th to sort of, just discuss the process, and that's when we'll begin evaluations. And we'll be evaluating through the 26th.
Is April 10th the first meeting?
Yes, April 10th is the first meeting, and April 26th is when I ask people to finish their evaluations. And we'll meet for a final meeting on May 1st to just discuss the results.
And he'll be putting that in an email to you all, so we're very excited. I think right now we have about 8 applicants, but it is very common to have a very small amount and for everything to come in on Friday.
I don't know why they don't have applications. Just open for one day.
Yeah, so, anyway, so moving along the lines, just for, generalized information, the, open space bond, is going strong, and the applications for passive recreation is currently open. It will close this Friday as well. I am not aware of exactly how many have officially, applied for those, passive recreation bond funds. We have a couple folks that are on the subcommittee, appreciate you all, but just did want to make everyone aware that that is going on. The current bond project manager, her position will no longer be as of July the 1st. That position will no longer be funded through the bond funds. And so the county is having conversation now about how we'll continue a seamless, uninterrupted implementation of those bonds. So have expectations for continuing that.
Is it possible that they could find the funds to fund those 2 positions or change the rules of the bond?
So they definitely did not change the rules of the bonds, as far as what is legally permitted to come out of those. As far as any other kind of in-house thing right now, what we're looking at is kind of a redistribution of those duties at this time is what we're looking at. So, yeah. The other thing that I did want to bring up and have a conversation about, so we have some new members that we're very appreciative to have. We have some folks that have been here a little while and some in the intermediary. But we do have our official advisory bylaws. These bylaws were set to take effect in 2020, so they're at least 4 years old right now, and actually quite a bit has happened in the past 4 years. And I think so much so that it really, our operations are changing as we grow and as we have new greater responsibilities, and as we start looking to our advisory board to truly start taking on projects and helping really to be good stewards of our parks and give us some direction and guidance. I would like to propose that, you know, we have a conversation for the board to take a look at, maybe get a small group of folks that are willing to take a look at the current bylaws and make recommendations for revised bylaws to bring back to the group to discuss and then potentially vote in. And any bylaws that exist for our board would need to ultimately be adopted, presented to and adopted by the Board of Commission, as we are a board appointed. And so I wanted to bring that up. The bylaws are here. And I just wanted to leave just a moment for kind of conversation of thoughts that folks may have about that or suggestions about kind of moving that forward.
Well, I do think those of us who have been here a couple of years realize that as we've grown and members have changed and staff has been added and programs have been added and everything that we do, we can look at this with different eyes now. So I do agree with the director's encouragement that we look at these bylaws and perhaps doing changing that needs to be done. So yes, I would, everyone's in agreement with that. And might like to have a motion that we have a committee appointed or a committee that volunteers to look at the bylaws. And I'd be glad to be a part of that. You all agree with that? Say aye.
All right.
Allison, do you see, if there's something specific that you saw that needs to be examined, or just the fact that they're 4 years old?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few things. I think the fact that they're 4 years old and we have a new staff and we also have new amenities that are coming on board. But I also think as we're looking to further engage and have you all really be active in a part of this guidance, there's currently nothing in here that outlines any type of requirements for attendance, if you will, as far as that goes. I also think that, you know, the terms that we could have conversation about, you know, are the terms what they need to be? Does that make the most amount of sense as far as ensuring that we have a good amount of folks that have a great deal of history, but also that we're having rotation of new folks coming on with ideas, and that those rotations aren't happening all at once, so that we move from a board that is functioning well to all of a sudden we have four folks on our advisory board that are leaving at the same time. So I think it's worth a conversation to look at the staggered times for folks to be able to participate.
What might be an idea is for the board members to take these bylaws that Allison has shared with us and maybe send them to the board members who are not able to be here and ask them to redline things that they would like to discuss.
Yeah.
And we can just bring it up as part of the agenda at our May meeting.
Okay.
Right.
And then the only other piece of information that I officially want to announce, which is a bittersweet announcement for me, because it is well deserved after, it'll be 30 years of service. Lynn Pegg will be retiring, along with her a great deal of knowledge and just community collaborations and relationships. But I will say that Lynn's doing an excellent job of passing on her knowledge and information to the rest of staff. Like I said, it's bittersweet because we're very excited and is well deserved, and at the same time, it's definitely very heavy-hearted to have such an integral part of our departments leaving. So I wanted to make that. The next board meeting will be her last.
So that's where we have the party.
There you go, exactly, yes. I motion for a party.
Second. And I would add to that, because I've known Lynn for years and decades and years. The fact that she could have retired and held off on retiring so she could help with this transition from one director to an interim director to our now permanent wonderful director is it's just more than most people would do. But that shows her devotion to this department and her depth of understanding with this department. And to say she'd be missed is, you can't underline that enough. I mean, she's the history of this department right here. And I think all of us came on board, Lynn was there. So it's gonna be different. We're gonna soldier. Yes.
But you're not leaving this area, so
No,
we have your
I'll still
brain.
be here. Still be here.
May have a seat in the near future for our advisory board, who knows, right?
Any questions of Allison? Thomas.
Yes, so just for reference here, I'll see if it's gonna be hard to see, but just in general references. So first update is on the Inca Heritage Greenway. We actually had a meeting yesterday with NCDOT and our consultant JMT to actually kind of restart this. I'll give you a little bit of background and just know that we are kind of re-kicking this thing off and re-getting going here. But essentially, and a lot of you may know some of this information already, but the couple of parcels on the most western end, so we're actually right here, I believe. So the AB Tech campus, which is actually owned by BASF, has been deemed off limits as far as Greenway development goes due to their status in the inactive hazardous sites program. So they have not been reporting their required environmental testing results to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. So without them doing that, we are actually unable to build a greenway on that particular site. So what we have gotten approved with the French Broad River MPO and unofficially with North Carolina Department of Transportation is that our terminus for this project will be located on the kind of eastern edge of that property. So we'll go as far as possible along the existing alignment. And that will make this section an out and back greenway section, which they normally steer clear of, but they were able to make an exception for us due to the fact that this is such a kind of a untypical situation. So basically our terminus changes from this location to this location in hopes that BASF will actually start reporting, get up to speed on their site. And then in the future, at some point in the future, Greenway actually being allowed along that route, and then we could continue on kind of as master planned. The eastern side of the project largely remains the same. So again, we're starting back on that. Going to start having bi-weekly meetings with our consultant in NCDOT, and NCDOT is going to be assuming a little bit more of a hands-on role, so we can hopefully get this thing going a little bit quicker.
Have we been in contact with BS?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of history, even kind of before I arrived on the scene, but yeah, we've basically done everything we can with them, and there's no forward progress and no indication that they care to make any forward progress on their environmental reporting either. So, yeah. And then on the Woodfin Greenway, kind of switching gears here, again, it's a little hard to see on the screen. Some of you may or may not know the alignment, but I'll go over it really quick. This southern terminus down here, right here, is the intersection of Riverside Drive, 251, and Broadway. There's kind of a UNC Asheville building that's right on that corner. I think like French Broad Chocolates kind of in that area as well. You can see the alignment goes along the river, passes through Silverline Park, continues along the river's edge, goes through Riverside Park, the town of Woodfin's Riverside Park, and then finishes up here at MSD. This particular bridge crossing right here is the main thing that's given us problems on this alignment. Basically, this bridge is not able to be permitted in any of the 20 ways we've tried to permit it. So we're actually working with NCDOT, our consultants, and IMD, which is the Integrated Mobility Division, to propose an alternative route actually through the MSD's parking lot, and so that we can actually connect into the Beaver Dam Creek Greenway that you can kind of see the beginnings of right here, this dotted line right here. So that brings me into talking about the Beaver Dam Creek Greenway, in which we've actually started our design for. And we've gotten to about, I'll call it like 15% design for that. We've met with there's one large property that the Greenway will be traversing through. And we've met with that property owner. It's a developer out of Raleigh, and they're on board and are very pro Greenway. We've presented them the initial alignment, which is largely dictated by topography and the stream. We're kind of staying as close to the stream as possible, but staying off of steep banks and stuff like that. We presented that to them. They've largely signed off on it. There's a couple of little issues, because they're actually planning on doing something with that site. It's the old kind of Woodfin landfill. I don't know exactly what, is that called the Woodfin landfill or City of Asheville landfill or?
It's wood.
Yeah, so it's that site that we're talking about, and yeah, so we're plugging along with that particular alignment. Once we get to about 25% design, we will be doing some public outreach to present to the public the exact alignment of that as well.
Can I make a comment about that?
Sure.
If any of y'all haven't seen that area, it's beautiful.
Yep.
It's really pristine and beautiful creek that goes from Merriman all the way over to Riverside Drive.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fabulous green.
Yeah, we agree. All right, so the next item here is kind of our master plan update. So far, we've had two public engagement meetings, community public engagement meetings. One of those was on February 1st at East Asheville Library. Pretty successful event. I feel like it was what I'll call is heavily attended for one of our events. I think it was over 60 folks, is that right? Yeah. Got a lot of good feedback from that. And then we just recently, last week on March 21st, had our second event at Inca High School in the school auditorium. A little less attendance at that one. It's like one of those things where you're like, is this good weather helping or hurting us? But still got some valuable feedback. Also got some people to attend that were able to like spread the survey pretty efficiently. So that was good, as well as like, even though the event wasn't as well attended, some important kind of community advocates were there that were able to spread it. We are gonna have a standalone Greenways community public engagement event. That's gonna be on May 8th. And we do not have the location officially locked down for that yet, but when we have that, we'll share that with the group as soon as possible. But yeah, we're moving along quite nicely with that. And I also suspect that we'll be presenting some of the preliminary findings of kind of our community engagement with you all once we have kind of all of that kind of wrapped up and packaged. We have our online survey that's going on right now, but we also have a statistically valid survey that's being initiated by a consultant. So there will be kind of random households throughout the county that receive this survey. And they keep sending out surveys until they hit the statistically valid number. And then we have our statistically valid results for that. But that's done in a way in which they're hitting all demographics and all kind of geographic locations of the county as well. So,
Are you getting positive feedback or anything surprising to you?
I don't know that there's anything that's been like super surprising. Do you think so?
Yeah, I don't think there's been anything overly surprising. I think we're getting a lot of good feedback. Because really the purpose of it really is to help guide, like we're really not looking for accolades. We're really looking for the gaps and we're really looking for the needs.
Yep.
And what I would say is that we've been hearing a lot of gaps and needs.
Yeah.
And I think the gaps that we're hearing, we've kind of have heard before and foresaw would be something that would need to be addressed.
Is that in programming or in physical space?
In both, I would say in both, yeah, identifying there always seems to be a need for more field space, whether that be soccer type fields or baseball fields, or like we're definitely hearing that, but we're also hearing the need for that passive recreation, nature type of space and trails. And so, yeah, and then programmatically, we're hearing people that want to have activities for youth and potentially summer camp or those types of things. So yeah, I think we're hearing the gamut, which is good, which is what we want. The other thing, Thomas has really been working with the consultant to do stakeholder group meetings and focus area meetings, and those have been really also very positive. And it's been nice because those are very targeted groups, and we'll continue some of those along the way, as well as additional generalized community meetings. And we'll also start looking at pop-up events because as we're getting demographics, I totally just took over.
No, it's fine.
As we get demographic information and we see where things are missing, if we see like a certain age population, or if we see a certain area of the county has not had a great deal of input, then the staff will be doing some real targeted community meetings in those areas and for those demographics. And then I'll turn it back over to Tom.
Yeah, and on that note, I will say too that if you all have any recommendations for folks that we should reach out to for kind of stakeholder interviews, we could check our list to see if we've already done so. But if not, we do have a little bit of like cushion room in our scope the project to be able to add a couple more stakeholder interviews, and a couple more focus groups. So if you have suggestions, please reach out and let me know. That's it for the master plan update.
Right, right. It's so exciting to see the outreach that you're doing on every level. And I think that's so important for any county department to do, and that is to have real close touch with the citizens of the county. And this sounds like you're doing that, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, I would say that we've gotten some positive feedback on that, or I have. It sometimes goes a little unnoticed. I don't know that I communicated as much, but a lot of people are like thrilled that we're actually like including them in the process at such a like one-on-one level. Something that we did intentionally when writing the scope of the project. So glad that it's getting noticed as well.
And I went to the community meeting at East Asheville. It was amazing, the people who said, like, you're doing this for us, you know, we're going to turn out and we want to be heard. So it's so very, very good. Okay. Project update. Joseph.
First big thing that we have going on is the ball fields out at Owen. We got one of them back into playing condition. We striped it last Friday, so it's up and available for anyone to rent or use. So kind of cool stuff. It's been kind of a non-official dog park for a while, so it's nice to get it back to what it actually should be. The next thing is the benches at Hominy Creek are now done. This includes, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen the old ones out there, were pretty bad. So we kind of ripped those out and put it in these new ones. They're cemented into the ground. They're pretty sturdy. They should last a while. And then part of that too is we did an ADA picnic table down at the bottom there, and connected it with a sidewalk and made the pad ADA certified and everything.
And it already has graffiti on it, but we will be getting rid of that.
Yeah, the worst thing, the concrete pad was down. It was less than 24 hours and somebody spray painted the concrete pad, but that's something we have to do.
Say thank you. Like nice graffiti.
So the bathroom out at the Buncombe County Sports Park, we're informed that they're trying to start mobilizing this week. Haven't seen them on site yet, but hopefully by next week we'll start seeing equipment and showing up and supplies and everything like that. The other update is the Lake Julian bathroom. The building should be installed by the end of May. They had to wait for some weird permits they were waiting on. And then also being a prefab, the construction facility that makes those bathrooms was kind of behind. So. Next is a couple things going on at the sports park. One is that on Earth Day, it's on a Saturday, 4/20. If you guys know anyone that want to come and help us, we're going to be putting in a pollinator garden on that bank at the sports park, kind of from field 8 going down to the bottom fields. Right now, it's kind of just a random mix of grass and everything. So we've been working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife to pick out what flowers and stuff we want to put in there, native grasses. And we've made a whole game plan. I ordered all the plants last week. So, and we're going to have some rangers out there helping us. And if any of you want to come out that day, should be a fun time. So
How are you going to publicize that?
I think we're going to work with Catalina to start putting stuff out.
I was going to say that because I see more good things about Parks and Rec. So they're doing a great job. I like everyone. Everyone like.
The other thing is we're going to hydro-seed the dog park. If anyone's been at the Buncombe County Sports Park recently, that hill in the big dog park, it's kind of just clay now. So we're going to hydro-seed it. That hopefully will be the quickest solution to get grass back on it. We're going to try to put temporary fencing up around that area after we put the hydro seed down. And hopefully that will be enough to keep dogs off that area. But we're also going to make it known that we start seeing dogs getting in that seed mix. We'll just have to shut it down for probably 3 weeks, which people, you know, will be sad about, but hopefully they see the long-term solution of it's better to have grass down than just rock and clay. So.
I feel like you could put a toxic to dog sign.
Yeah. Really, you know, yeah.
Along with a bunch of phone calls.
The other thing at the sports park is we ordered some guardrails that we're gonna install in some trouble areas that we have with parking. Also that hill where we're putting the pollinator garden, we had somebody actually try to drive up there the other week, so. Just trying to make it a little bit safer out there and then also keep people from parking up on that grass or any damage they could do to the hillside. And then also at the sports park, we're gonna be putting in these new benches, mostly on the disc golf course. Kind of different areas out there so that they can utilize them. Lake Julian, they were supposed to start today, but now with the rain, they're starting tomorrow and they're gonna be removing some hazardous trees out there on the disc golf course. Also Lake Julian, the second week of April, Haynes Electric is gonna be out there doing electrical improvements. And then also paving will be taking place out there this summer. We don't have an exact date yet, but we'll be working with Matt to make sure it's not the 4th of July week, so.
The electrical improvements are like much needed improvements to help with the Lake Julian Festival of Lights. So.
And then the biggest thing I'm here to talk to you about today is that I am in the process right now of applying for an ADA accessibility grant through the state. This grant will be a $500,000 ask. It's a 1 to 5 ask, so we'll be matching 1 to 5 on that. But what it will be for is an ADA playground, state of the art, out at the Buncombe County Sports Park. If you've been out there, you've seen the one that's out there now. It's time for an upgrade. And also we want to provide something that's accessible to all users in the community. So as part of this process, I need your guys' support to vote for this and say that you support us going and asking for this grant.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll take a recommendation from the board that we propose that they do propose this grant. Can I have a motion? Yes, sir. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
What? Blah, blah, blah.
Is this through the Park and Recreation Trust Fund?
No, this is through the state, NC Park State, grant fund.
Yeah, it's like adjacent. I would say it's adjacent to the park.
Adjacent?
Yeah,
Part of?
it's not officially like part of, but it's like
Yeah.
run by the same people.
Mhm.
The deal.
This is kind of a newer one that's.
That I don't think I'd ever heard of.
Yeah, and then, you can go for part F2 for things like this, but this fits more in this category now. But we'll definitely be doing some part F grants in the future too. But any questions?
Great report.
Thank you.
Lot going on. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good.
I do just want to tag on to that really quickly before we move on. Hopefully you're seeing that the county and the Parks Department is really looking to invest in our park system at this time. We really are trying to upgrade. We're really trying to ensure as we're doing that, that we're maintaining ADA compliance. And, our department is really prioritizing some of these deferred maintenance programs. You see that with installation of bathrooms and such. And so hope for that continued support as we move forward and growing and really looking to create a park system that is the premier system that the county can.
It's very obvious every meeting.
Try.
Events and programming. Can I ask one? Yes.
Question, your question kind of spurned it, but I think as a new member of the board, one of the things that I realized I know very little about is like funding sources. There's all these projects, and so I think just in terms of that could be a helpful thing to be like, what are the funding sources? What are some of the limits for us to kind of just understand a little bit more to feel like we have more, in terms of voting? Because I realized I'm like, I don't know, but that seems wonderful. That seems great. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
we can add that to the next agenda. We'll do kind of a high level of funding opportunities that exist
think that's a
and
great
how we go
question.
through that. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yes. Man, back. Let me back and take the helm.
All right, so we got a lot of programming stuff coming up. So one of our biggest things is we are rapidly approaching our 2024 Special Olympics Spring Games Day. That's gonna be on May 2nd. So for those of you who don't know what that is just our big kind of track and field day for most of the county schools, city schools, and programs in our county that serve people with IDD, which is intellectual and developmental disabilities. We've got over 550 athletes signed up for that day. And that's just a plethora of like track and field events that they get to compete in, and they get a medal. And Chick-fil-A graciously gives us lunch for all of those athletes as well. So our opening ceremonies will start at 9:30 on that day. And then the games will begin at 10 o'clock. So I encourage any and all of you, if you haven't been to that day, try and make it out, because it's an awesome day. Just full of happiness and joy and everything. Yeah, so, and I do want to plug, there's a great article and video that was put up, I think, last week, just highlighting Special Olympics in our county, spring games, and our year-round athletes included in that. So I think that's on buncombecounty.org and /parks and all of our socials as well. So last Saturday, we had our brand new doggy Easter egg hunt event. It went super well. We had 2 divisions. We had a large dog division and a small dog division. And we had 10 dogs in each. Registration was full. They got to come into the dog park, search around for eggs. And then we did prizes for the most eggs found, least eggs found, and then honorable mention. So it was a good day. We had a good turnout. So we will look to probably do that again next year as well. So another new programming thing that we're doing is spring break day camps. So we're doing 2 of those, which will be next week. It will be April 2nd and April 4th. And they're going to be at Owen Park and Lake Julian Park. And that's for kids ages 8 to 12. And registration is getting pretty full for those. I think we're allowing 20 kids each day. And those days will just be full of activities for them to enjoy. We'll have some arts and crafts. We've got our friends from environmental educators from Soil and Water coming out to do some activities with them. And then we'll have our core van out there as well. So we're excited for those. Those are going to be fun. At least I think so. Let's see. And then we've got our core programming coming back this summer and fall. For those of you who don't know what that is a program we rolled out last year, which is CORE, stands for Community Outreach and Recreation Experiences. And it's basically, we just have a mobile recreation van that we take places and have activities for kids to interact with and stuff like that. So we will be starting that back up in June, and we'll be going to multiple locations. We go to community centers as well as some of our parks. So there's opportunities there for people to come out and interact with us. Yeah, and then one program that we don't have on here that I want to hit on is we have a kids fishing tournament coming up on April 13th out at Charles E. Owen Park. And those are greater event. That's kind of like our flagship event, I guess you would say, Matt, right? And that just brings kids out from the ages 1 to 15 and just allows them to fish for the day. We have like 3 age groups that we do prizes for. So, and provide them with snacks and drinks. So it's good.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
No question.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Matt to speak a little bit about Earth Day coming up.
One question.
Yes.
Is over 550 a record?
We typically see between 550 and 600 athletes on a given year. So that's kind of like the baseline each year. So.
Yeah, so for Earth Day, Joseph kind of touched on the main project this year. We've done it, I think this is our 4th year of doing the Earth Day. We kind of started it as like a litter pickup day at the lake, just kind of an easy volunteer day. We tried to grow that every year. That's, we tried to expand it outside of just at Lake Julian. One of the park rangers at the lake, Connor, kind of the point person for it. And the projects we've looked at this year, the Pollinator Garden at the sports park is a big one. We've also tried to partner with Friends of the Blue Ridge. We got a MOU with them this year, kind of some stuff that they can start helping out with in our parks. And we're working with them on maybe trying to get some trail work done that day as well at Collier Cove Nature Preserve, over in Royal Pines. But our main focus this year is going to be at Buncombe County Sports Park. So that if you guys haven't seen that hill, it's quite a hill. It's a good slant and it needs something there. So that's our main focus this year. We have a pollinator garden at the lake. It's going to be kind of just handled by staff that day. Just kind of revamping that. Yeah, that's our main focus this year is, if you know anybody that wants to come out and help out, the registration is on our new website on ActiveNet. You can go to buncombecounty.org/parks. At the top, there's a button that says reserve and registered. Just click on there. It'll take you to any of our activities, any of our facility reservations, anything like that. So that's with all of these events. You can go on there and register, or share it with people and let them know. We're trying to get the word out about the new website where they can go sign up for all this stuff.
So important.
Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong about the Earth Day, but there is gonna be, it's not just like a, hey, come out, lend us your back to pull weeds while we replant this hill, but there is actually gonna be an educational component to that as well. As Joseph mentioned, we're working with US Fish and Wildlife, and I forget Brian's last name.
Tompkins.
Brian Tompkins is actually gonna come out and do kind of an educational component to that as well. So
Yeah, Connor would be mad at me. Connor's got me helping out with that part of it that day. We're for the Parks and Rec staff, we'll be at the sports park too. We'll have a tent set up. I think environmental educators are there too. So we're gonna have a little bit of a Connor's been calling it a symposium, just to talk about Earth Day and just little educational opportunities for.
Is that our big story for the meeting?
Yes. Yeah, and after we plant that pollinator garden, US Fish and Wildlife is gonna try to seek funds to put signage out there that explains what is a pollinator garden, what it attracts, and one of their things he really is big on is how it actually helps with bees and brings the bees you want to be there. So things like that will be good education.
yeah, and I think it'll be a cool volunteer opportunity too, because it's gonna be like a multi-year process. It's not just like, hey, stick these plants in the ground and let them go. It's like stick these plants in the ground, let it go, then burn it, and then like replant some stuff. So there's like a whole like system to it that I think will be really cool to kind of like watch it unfold for a couple of years. So it's a cool opportunity.
Very interesting. Any questions of the gentleman over there? Mighty Four.
I'd like to just give a big shout out to Matt for our new online software. If it wasn't for him, that wouldn't be in action. He set the multiple day-long trainings to get that up and going and did a lot of work on the back end of it, so the public has easy access to everything. And so he deserves a pat on the back hugely. It's been something we've needed for a long, long time, and it's already showing to be beneficial in a whole lot of ways, I think. So he's spearheaded that up and done a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
A lot of learning on the job, but that's the best way to do it for me.
I do wanna, so I wanna, first of all, again, I wanna thank you, Ingrid, for asking about, funding sources and topics. The other thing that I'd like to say is, I really wanna get, at least one, maybe two, potential times that we can put out to folks that are interested and available to do some park tours so that we could take you to a few locations. Maybe if we can look at that in May. I don't know if we can send out a doodle poll or figure out something that we can send to you all to give you some options of days and times that you might have available. We can take you to some of these locations, as well as some of our more outlying locations as well along the river, some of the river parks. And so really want to make sure that we're offering you all the opportunity to get out there and to hear some of the history. And one of the reasons I wanted to do it in May is you will have the most amazing guide with you to be able to give you the history of so many of our parks.
Next time we're meeting at Lake Julie.
Yeah, we meet at Lake Julian, and so definitely what we can do is have a conversation about maybe if there's folks that are interested and available to stay afterwards, do a little bit of a tour and maybe have a little bit of a tour of the lake as well. For you all.
Who's gonna paddle the boat? You're up there, Brennan.
I'll battle with my.
That's why you got the pontoon boat, right?
Yeah, we have a pontoon. So nobody will have that.
Other things that you all, like I said, because we're really building this this group together and really wanted to ensure that, you know, that folks are having input and that we're getting to a place where you all are really starting to move some things as well. It takes a little while to lay some of the groundwork, and so if there's other topics or things that you would like to hear about, or if there are things that you would like to present or bring forward for us for consideration, I would say it'd be great to hear what those things are, and then we can add them to the next meeting. See if that is.
Just as you suggested, you know, information that we need, I think that's a good time. Should. Absolutely.
Well, I hope the county commissioners appreciate what y'all are doing to build up this department and make it more user friendly and exciting. If we can do anything on that end, I think I'd be happy to give you a pat on the back.
No, we appreciate it. It's been a hardworking group of folks here for sure, and have appreciated all the support internally and as well with other departments that have been supportive and coming out in our general services, having lots of conversations with them about projects and about the upkeep of our parks. And so I really do want to make sure, yeah, that we acknowledge them, because they're a hardworking group of folks at ground maintenance. They are mowing and doing leaves, and it's a great deal of work and a lot of properties, because it's not only park properties, but it's county properties as well. And so really appreciative to all of our general service and ground maintenance folks. Yeah.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
Yeah, well, just quick note, it's really helpful to hear from you all, like where there's areas where it would be helpful to have input, like, for example, like, okay, this survey or this survey, just because we have our monthly meetings in my neighborhood. So I think with my hat, I'm wondering like, oh, what sort of ways can I engage differently now being on the board? So that's just another thought of just like, when you're asking for public engagement, what way, you know, we can like help support that, be it through surveys or outreach or those sorts of things.
We all need to remember that we're the conduit from this board to the area that we represent. And she's exactly right. That's our role. Thank you so much. Anything else? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you so much for being here. See you May the 14th.